All right, so we going live.
All right.
We up and running.
All right.
All right, so let's jump right in, man.
Yeah, let's get in it.
Yeah, so we're gonna start with a brief introduction. You know what I'm saying? My name
Okay.
is Elanaja. Of course, this is my man Byron
Okay.
right here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we here on Black Lives Antimatter, man. We just gonna have a discussion about life, about our journey, our spiritual journey, our physical journey, and
Right.
some street knowledge. We're gonna unravel some of the myths involved with what it means to grow up in the streets, so to speak, and talk about
Right.
how to transcend those environments towards higher consciousness, etc., etc. Me and Byron go back 20 plus years, starting out at Whole
Whew.
Foods Market, back when
Right.
it was fresh fields at the time.
It sure was. Fresh
It wasn't
fields,
even
whole food.
it wasn't even Whole Foods yet. And
Nope.
I think for the chosen ones, man, our energy real recognize real. And
Right. That's what we always
it's
talk about.
always been positive energy from day one. And fast forward 20 years later, man, fate will have our paths continue to cross in most amazing, beautiful ways, man. Like Aaron
Right.
is an inspiration in my life, somebody that I appreciate on many different levels. I'm sure we'll get into more of the specifics as we go along, but I want to jump right in, man. Let's get to know you better.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Like you said, 20 plus years we done known each other. I came to Whole Foods back in '97. Um, you know, I came there after like a year-long hiatus from the streets. I had to basically recreate myself from what I knew. And it's funny that we having this conversation because my son just had a report that he's actually in the midst of doing, actually about, his biography, his dad's biography, who my heroes was, how did I get to be the way I am, what was my challenges and things like that. So, you know, me and you embarked on these conversations because just from just regular talking, we started realizing that, yo, this is actually a good story here to tell. And like I said, I was like on a year-long hiatus from the street because I couldn't do that anymore. And I really had to put a big pause in my life. I basically really didn't come outside for like a year. I stayed in the house for a year because every time I came out, I was making the wrong moves and I couldn't keep doing it. So I really had to fall all the way back, literally become like a recluse just to get my head together. And in the midst of all of that, I found out about Whole Foods. It's just a job. Just go by there. They said they hiring some new market, and I was like, I don't even know what that is, but they hiring. Cool. I'm gonna go down there. So, um, in that aspect, for me, kind of coming there, that kind of began my journey to where I'm at right now. It seems that just like when you see movies like the Black Panther or Coming to America, when I came into that environment, I had never seen anything like that. I'd never seen so many of our people with a whole different kind of swagger. Because I'm from the street, so I didn't never see all these people just so conscious and so much consciousness, conscious dressing. People talking about health, people talking about spirituality, and I was literally just basically a person working in the parking lot pushing carts. But while I was out there, I was getting all the ingredients to improve my life. Everybody that came in there, I was like, yo, how you doing? What is it that you're doing? What do you eat? Are you taking vitamins? And they started telling me everything. Everything they wanted me to know, they was telling me, do this, brother, do that. And I was like a sponge, just jump on everything, everything. So just like me and you talked about, the great energy, the vibes, the vibrations, and just us knowing each other and then relinking up. it didn't take no time for us to get right back and go further than where we was at because the vibrations was already there. We just had to connect. So it's the same thing for me. You know, I grew up my whole life knowing nothing about really healthy eating, um, really any consciousness at all, just dealing with what I knew from the streets and just out there trying to survive, and finesse my way through things, just trying to get what I could get so I could survive out there. And when I met this world, it was like, wow, everything about me beforehand was preparing me for this moment right now. So I don't know if you want me to go on from there. You want to,
So
ask me a question.
so let's get a understanding of when we say the streets, we came from the streets. What does that mean to
Yeah.
you?
Well, I was out there slinging, hustling, illegal activities for at least from 21 to darn near 29. That's what I was doing. I had little jobs, but it was just something to do. Just as they say, keep a little money in your pocket. You might fall short sometimes when you're out there hustling, and you got to get back. So you get a little money up, so you can go back out there and re up and get what you need, so you can get back out on the streets. Yeah, that's what I was doing. Because in my mind, it was a certain independence in that, and without me even really knowing that I had an entrepreneur spirit, but didn't really know what to do with it, it was me controlling my own destiny. Meaning I'm buying and I'm selling, and I gotta buy again and sell again, and I gotta have customers, and I gotta take care of them, and I gotta build a relationship with them. I'm actually working for them because even though I'm working for myself, I got to please them. And if everybody's got the same thing, why would you buy it from me? Most likely because I'm a person that's going to say please and thank you, and oh yeah, you could, I'll let you go for $1. Yeah, that's not no big deal. I'll front you sometime. Yeah, I'll let you have it. You good people. So that's the only thing that set me apart was how I dealt with people. I didn't deal with them in a way of it's all for me. I dealt with them in a way where it was like we're in this together. You might do something that ain't all that good for you, but at the same time, you're helping me pay my bills and take care of my family. So whatever I can do for you, even if it's a person that you need to talk to for a few minutes about things that's going on, I was like that guy.
So let's rewind. We talking what, 80, 88, 89? Where we at?
Yeah, you're gonna say, like I said, like shoot, from like 21 on. So I came there like 97. So yeah, it had to be like, yeah, like let me see, if we're going back like 10 years, yeah, like 87, 88, 89, around that time. Yeah.
So let's paint the picture. Philadelphia,
Yeah.
1988.
Oh my God.
Let's start from the very beginning. How do you even take that first step into that life?
Well, one
1988
is,
Philadelphia. What's
yeah.
the first step look like?
Well, well, the first step looks like, is an observation thing. You're actually seeing people around you moving in certain ways, like having certain clothes, having cars, pulling money out their pocket, and you saying to yourself, "Where are they getting this money from?" And you're watching them connect with people, and then you start to become curious. In some ways, you might even partake in what they're selling, but on a big level, it's just for you to kind of find out what this is. People are paying for this. So when you're in an environment where like literally 80% of the young men you around, maybe even higher, maybe 89% are all getting money this way. Because even the other 10%, they might have jobs, but they still might, do a little hustling also just to kind of subsidize their income so they could pull in a little bit more money. So that's kind of the first way. It's just all over the place, and it's very easy to connect to. So like with all things, as long as you're a person who, in so many words, ain't gonna eat the bananas you selling, because they always say a monkey can't sell bananas. It's like an easy way for you to start making money because everybody is the network's already there. You ain't created. You just plugging in.
So that's step one. We're gonna get to the meat, but we did step one. Let's fast forward to the final step. So the first step is acknowledging the financial aspect of it, dealing with your financial situation, looking at the explosion of finances going on around you and wanting a part of that. What does the final step look like?
Right. But you mean when you're actually doing it?
No, I mean the final step in the street life where you said I gotta do something different. I gotta get out of this. I gotta transcend. What does that
Oh,
final
okay.
step look like?
Yeah. Well, the final step is taking that hard look in the mirror, and actually beginning to start to believe that you could do something else. Now, it's a very scary place because one thing about the first step, people excel in those areas that didn't exactly excel in school. You could have been getting F's in school, but been a genius on the streets. And the thing with that is that in that itself is rewarding to a person who might have thought, like, I'm not really that smart. But then they out there on the streets and they a beast. And there's other people that can't do what they're doing. They've actually always had those skills. It's people learn in different ways, and it's a different way of applying the knowledge that you have. So I mention this because when you hit the final step, you now are going to have to let go the greatness that you felt you had in that area. It's not just the fact that it's illegal. It's not just the fact that there's a lot of clout behind it, but it's also something you're good at. So now you have to actually say, I can't do what I'm good at. What
Mm,
else am I going to do?
mm,
What else am I going to do? Well, first off, one of the major final steps is you do have to seclude yourself because everyone that you're around is still doing those things. And because they're still doing those things, it's so easy for you to just fall right back to doing it. But a lot of times, from getting in trouble, from being on parole, there's things happening that you can't operate like that no more because now you're having some type of supervision that is telling you, you got caught once.
mm.
If I catch you again, you're going down. And that's it. So you can go ahead and play this game with me if you want, because you do try. But it becomes a very, 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 very strict game that you're playing. So when you start finding that you're violating parole, you're giving hot yarn, you're messing up in those ways where they like, yo, you listen. I don't need to even really know where you go at daily, but I can tell you still involved. So now you want to pause. For me, that final step was I literally had to seclude myself and really be in a place of actually nowhere. I was on the in between. And then when you start taking that next step, that's usually someone reaching out and extending their hand to you. In this case, it was my mother because because of all that time I spent out there, I didn't really interact with her much because she could see it a mile away, and I already knew with the type of woman she wasn't going to tolerate that. So I stayed away from her. So this is the thing that we learn. There's a plus and a minus in everything, and there's a gift and a curse in everything. You know, part of the curse for me was, wow, I got to find something else to do. But the gift was I was able to reconnect with my roots, someone who believed in me and started to tell me like, yo, just get a job. And it's like, wow, that thought didn't enter my mind because You leaving off on a high level. So you figuring like I'm used to having a certain amount of money. Like I just don't really know how to make that transition to hardly any money and then make that work. So you have to take that out of the equation. You just trying to start somewhere. And that's what I did. I put one foot in front of the other, and the next thing you know, it's 24 years later, and I found out that I was good at some other things, a lot of other things. And most of it started on the street, learning how to talk to people, learning how to get a buy-in from people. I had a buy-in when I was on the street. People people actually was out there wanting me to succeed because they liked the way I carried myself. And there was others out there that was against me too. So you always got those two factors, and those one drives the other. The ones against you drive the ones that's for you because everyone likes to root for somebody. You know, it's like that's my team. And another person's like, I don't like that team. I hope they lose. And another person's like, no, I'm going to wear the jerseys. I'm going to do everything I can to support this team. And those two things are constantly against each other. And it's the same thing with us in life. That's the way we are. You know, we got the things we know we should do, and we got the things that's trying to stop us from doing.
Was there an awakening moment? Was there an event that took place that opened your eyes and said, I want to do something different, or was it a gradual process?
Well, there was a series of events that were coming back to back that was like you can't do it no more. One was, at that time, my ex-wife, she was herself abusing drugs. And the fact that she was doing that, it was coming out of what I was doing. So it was like, oh, it's getting raw now. It's at home. Like, hold up. You acting like the people on the streets. This ain't fun no more. This is actually very detrimental. But as they say, it's the chickens coming home to roost. So I never thought about that side of it. That the money that I was bringing in was coming out of someone else's money, and in their life they were suffering. But that's karma, and that itself made it where the taste became unbearable for me. Like I got to get away from this. I got to get away from this because the person I'm sitting up here trying to take care of is abusing this. So that was nothing that I foresaw happening in the beginning. But when you hit towards the end, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like you can't control this a little bit better than this. She was out of control. She was stealing from me. She was taking my stuff and um putting fake stuff in it. Anything she could. just like they do. It was anything she could do. She was doing it. She didn't even care about you're gonna get me killed out here. You got me out here selling dummy stuff. Cause you sitting up here replacing it. It played a strong mind game on me because it took me a while to realize that she was doing it. I mean, she knew she was getting in the safe when I had a combination. I'm like, how do you know the combination? I didn't tell it to you.
Wow. So it got real.
Yeah. And then, 5-0 came through the crib. Boom, boom, boom. You understand? Like it was a freaking like it was Scarface or something. It was like, yo, wait a minute, I ain't that big of a deal. They came up in here like I own Philadelphia. So with that kind of heat, it was just one thing after another, one thing after another. So I actually, since you even asking me this question, and I'm actually remembering, I hadn't even thought about that either. The way you asking me these questions, I never thought about how those things was going in those steps because I actually never documented it mentally in an order like that. So this conversation is therapeutic because I actually see that these things was happening, pushing me towards something different And of course, when you're getting pushed towards something different, you're scared. You don't want to do it. And you're also like, why? Why can't keep? Why this got to be happening? Why me? You know. The thing that has become like a beautiful thing is that I had ran into people when I was as I've been working, and people that was out there with me saw me working, and they were like, "Wow, this is where you at?" Because ain't nobody seen you. Because I disappeared. They was like, "I didn't know where you had went." I said, "Yeah, I've been working." They was like, "Wow." They was like, "I give it to you. I can't do this. I can't do what you're doing, but I respect you for it. Because you know what I mean? I respect you because I know you're not getting that money like you was getting, but you out here doing it and you happy." Yeah. The thing is that it comes a point where you're going to have to start. I don't care what it is. If you're 20 or you're 40. I was 30. People telling me this, they were 32, 35, 36. Some of them still haven't started. I'm 54. So you couldn't start at 30. You know how hard it is at 54? Which again brings you back to what your parents always tell you. Do the right thing. It's only one way, the right way. They sound like myths, legend talk. What are you talking about? Then as you grow, you start realizing it is only really one way to do something. It's the right way. Everything else is going to crumble.
What's one of the craziest things that you've seen out there in the streets of Philadelphia?
Mm. I tell you, it all runs together. It's so much crazy stuff. Like I knew a guy, like, and everywhere you go, there's a higher level. So it's like this person sells powder, and this person sells crack, and this person sells heroin. When you started moving in those areas, like the heroin, that was like, whoa, what is that? And the guy said, I said, that people overdose and die from that. And the guy told me, he said, let me tell you something. If you're doing this, you already dead. So me selling it don't make me feel like I'm killing you because if you're doing this, you are dead already. That's the mindset. So, like all things, as they talk about everything, people talk about Illuminati and all this kind of stuff. Everything is a level or a door that you don't walk in or will walk in. So each of these things that we start to do, as they get deeper, that's another door. Then there's people that's like, they got some kind of rules and morals about it. Like, well, no, 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 I don't sell the kids, or I don't sell the women and children, or I don't sell near school. And then some people's like, I don't care. I sell in the school, around the school. I sell the kids, women, children. I don't care who it is. I sell to my mother. And each of those areas puts a whole nother light on you. So some of the things that I've seen has been around that type of stuff where someone that I knew that shared stories like that was dead like a month or two later, and it was around the sales of the heroin. Someone killed him. And it's just like, wow, like I just saw this guy, like he's actually really dead, you know. But like I said, I can't even really tell you about one specific thing because like the whole thing, I've seen so many people, what I mean, and how they operate, what I mean, people that was hot headed and just, you have murderers out there, people that were psychotic murderers that actually sold drugs so they could murder. They didn't murder to sell drugs, they sold drugs so they could murder. Just like the way the police that are racist use the badge so they can actually you know, commit these racial crimes. And I just people out there in the street that if they whatever they could do so they could murder people, they would do it. So if selling drugs is a way to say you can murder somebody for something, it's like, oh great, this goes hand in hand with me. This is exactly what I want. So you got to see all those types of people. You got to see people that was really good and just was making money. You got to see people that worked together as a family and they had a business. You got to see people who translated it into other things, into other business that bought barbershops, properties, and started cleaning businesses. And you saw all of that. You saw people do all kind of stuff, which you would just be like, "Wow, I can't believe it! Like this guy's really doing it." They have a real plan about what they're doing and how they're going to do it. The craziest part about that is, you know, you work every day. If you make $30,000 a year, that ain't nothing. Nobody wants to take that from you. So if you on the street and you can bring in $30,000, somebody might kidnap you for that little bit of money just because they know you ain't get it from a job. You generated it through the street. So to them, that's like you made $300,000.
So that
So
that
it's
brings
a very scary business to be in.
that brings me to my next question: is there a such thing as a street code, or is that just a myth?
Oh yeah, it's definitely a street code. It's definitely a street code. And what it is that, like all things, they're kind of like an unwritten silent code. And just like a lot of things, just like religion and faith, it only matters if you believe in it. There are people that believe in it and people that don't. And you will be able to tell by the way they carry themselves. There's people that would never tell on another person. Never. They didn't care if they was 1,000 years. They was like there's nothing inside of them that would let them say a word. Nothing. And there's people that could be told they're gonna go away for a week and they'll tell on their grandmother.
So on that note, on the subject of snitching,
Mm-hmm.
what's your definition of a snitch? Is a snitch just somebody that if I commit a crime with you and we both get caught, then I tell on you, or am I snitching if I witness a crime and I get questioned on it, or a young person sees somebody get murdered and the cops ask them what happened? Like what exactly is snitching, and what exactly is the street code?
Well, when you really talking about snitching really originates with people that are involved in the situation. That's where snitching really stems from. A person that ran in there with you, did that with you, plotted it with you, they got caught and they told. Now, when you talking about stuff like witnessing crimes and stuff like that, I mean, hey, if you're in a community and that's your community, and you know the people there, and you know that this person didn't do anything to deserve that, and you was to actually know that this person over here killed them, and you saw it, you know what I mean? Like I think the same way that you would want if someone hurt someone in your family, you would want somebody to tell you, like, yeah, I saw you, he did do that, and I don't agree with it, you know. But like I said, basically, snitching is really something that refers to a person who's involved with the actual event in that negative way. And then they're trying to pass the buck over to somebody else. That's the snitch. It was a lifestyle you had with a group of people, just like the mafia or whatever. Like you're in this lifestyle with them. So you already know.
So how would you define the street code?
Um, I would define it as something that ain't something you can count on. That's number one. It's not stable. It's an unstable code. You know what it really is? It is um in a lot of ways people who think they're better than others, that feel that they can do it, because they're just better. So I could tell on this person because you know what, he ain't nothing anyway, and he's a sucker, and he's corny, and he's whatever. You know that's people who do stuff like that, is that's their mindset, and they can come right out around other people like they ain't did nothing, don't bother them or nothing, not at all, not at all. So it's a very unstable code, very unstable. But it's almost similar to this phrase, "There's no honor amongst thieves." It's really not something that you could count on.
So, having transcended, first, before we get into that, have you ever had a violent encounter in the streets of Philadelphia? Have you been a part of or witnessed any type of violence while you were out there at that time?
Oh yes, I've seen a lot of violence. I've seen a lot of violence. Um, I've been in situations where I was what you call what I mean. I've been attacked. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? The whole nine. You know what I mean? Jumped. That stuff go down. Because people be like, "Yo, I don't want you going in my area. You shouldn't be on this corner. This is my corner." You know what I mean? If I catch you around here, it's gonna be something. So, I mean, I had a situation like that before. I mean, luckily, one of the people that was a part of it was someone that I had helped. So I guess in so many words, he was like, um, you know, I'm gonna punch you in the face, maybe hit you with the gun, but I ain't gonna shoot you because this is my way of showing you love. But I got to do something because I'm with this group now, and they want you out of here. You know what I mean? So it's like those are the things you got to understand. There's always a level someone could have went deeper. It's almost like what, they showed some mercy. They could have killed me, but they just gave me a little warning. Next time I might have to do something stronger. So those type of things go down.
Word. Thankful that you still here with us, man.
Yeah, well, you know what? Somebody had told me a long time ago. It's a lot easier for you to try to manage yourself. See what happens with a lot of people because they need the protection. They get packed. They get into a pack. They get with a group. With the group, one person does something wrong, they all. My son over here trying to distract me. One person do something wrong, they all basically are blamed for it or a party to it, even if you didn't know this one person is going to do that. Like nobody told him to do that, but this guy might have walked up into a place and you said you was gonna go in there and do this, and this guy went in there and shot four people. It's like now this is on all these people. So you can't really control groups of people. There's people that don't feel comfortable unless they have massive amounts of people around them. So the whole thing is that, I always roll by myself because whenever I want to remove myself from a situation, even if I had to make up an excuse, even if I had to make back then it was the pages, even if I had to make my own pager go off, like somebody was calling me, oh my God, somebody's calling me, I got to roll. I'll be back in 10 minutes and never come back. I could do that. You know what I mean? Because if you with a group of people, you can't get that many people to know that you are, fabricating something that fast without someone letting on. Like nobody told me we was going nowhere. You're like, oh man, I'm trying to do this on the slick side, and you over here messing it all up. You know? So you always thought it was best to kind of like travel by myself. But then there was a lot of people like that. There was people that was in groups, and there was a lot of independent people that were like, doing a little something, not a lot. You had some people that was all about taking over everything, and you got others who's like, look, if I can make $800 a week out here, I'm good. I don't need anything more than that. I don't want any more than that. I'll stop at 8. And I mean, they would go home like I made 8. I'm out. You know, I'm gonna tell you what it was like. It was like Uber. They say drive, play. Well, that's how that was. Go out, sell some, go back in. And you know what's so funny? Women love those men, you know. And I say those like I'm talking in the third person. I was one of them. They loved it because you was always available. Like, what times does he work? I don't know. He go to work when I'm sleeping. He come back while I wake up. He's always around. He's always got money. He's fun. You know, he ain't stressed because he ain't came home from this hard day. He just went out there, got his little pack off, and made his way back home. You know, sometimes you want to be out there 2 hours a night. That's a hell of a job. Back then, you come home $800 a week, spend 2 hours a night, and you don't even work 7 days. You take off like a regular person. Well, I'm off on Sunday. You don't call me on Sunday. I'm off. You know, you mean it. It's family time. So, you know, that side of things, those were the things that was good. And in that, there was a lot of community in the sense of there were people out there just trying to make a little bit of money. They wasn't trying to hurt nobody. And there was people that would flag people like, yo, look, you messing up. You just doing too much. I can't give you this no more. You can't get it from me. Because you ain't going to work no more. You stop eating. Like, no, 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 no. You was doing this recreationally. That was okay. But now you starting to look crazy to me, and I just feel bad every time you come up. So I don't have anything for you.
So speaking of which, what type of changes did you witness in the community or as a result of that time period?
Well, you know what? The main thing that was the most obvious: families were very divided. In the family of somebody that was making money, there was somebody in that family suffering. There was somebody in that family with no shoes, while the other person had 20 pairs of shoes. Because that's just how divided it was. It was in everybody's house around that time. It's like I'm saying, it was the person who you would least suspect would be the one out there the worst. You'd be like, oh my God, what happened to your brother? Say, oh man, he's on that stuff. My mom's phone don't even come to the house no more. Are you kidding? We used to look up to him. What happened? Yeah, it was a lot of that. It was a lot of that. That's what I remember the most. It just was like, again, you would see a crackhead and he could be walking into a mansion. You'd be like, he lived there? They're like, man, his family rich. And his brothers got all the stuff on the street. But he can't seem to keep his hands off of it. You understand? So that's the curse. That's the curse. Now you used to see those movies where it'd be a mad scientist that be doing all kind of crazy stuff. But then, like, if he was to take his pants off, one of his legs might look like a monster's leg, and you'd be like, "This is his curse for all this power he's got." It's always something that's connected to this, especially when it's things like that. In general, this is a terrible thing to be a part of. There's no rainbow at the end of that. Not at all. Not at all. There's no rainbow. There's no rainbow. Because as bad as things are, and as bad as things can be, when you know that you've been a part of that, anybody that you know personally that you care about, you're actually almost personally responsible for them being in that condition. Because you're providing the product. You're keeping this product out here. You know? It's funny. People could be selling fruit, vegetables. Could you imagine if that was the family business or the neighborhood business? We was all growing vegetables, selling vegetables. It would just be a conversation about vegetables. And everyone needed it. Everyone bought it. You have vegetables I like. I got vegetables you like. People come from other neighborhoods to get these vegetables. People come and talk to us about how to grow the vegetables. We all kind of stuff that we could do all around something like that. Then we could still be making money from it. But a person doesn't think that means anything. So like again, when all the money is made off of things that's killing us, it eventually makes it back to us. Because what are you doing, right? It's like, say you're drinking water from some place that is clean water, but then you're dumping poison in all the other water. And eventually all those waters start to connect, and now it's coming towards your water, the last clean water. And you've put all the pollution out there that is coming back your way. So now you don't have anywhere to drink. because you were a part of dirtying up the water. That's what was happening in our neighborhoods, in our communities. We were dirtying up everything. And that waste was running out of places to hide. So it started coming out in the relationships, in the children, in the parents. You know what I mean? There was people that had parents that was on drugs, and they're in the house selling drugs, and their mom and dad is buying drugs. How crazy is that? You know, somebody could be in their bedroom with $40,000 under their bed, and their mom could be in the next room spending every dime they got, getting high. But they like, you better not come in here and touch this money. That's a crazy dynamic.
How do you think today's youth have been affected by it all?
Um, it's funny. To try to sum stuff up when I'm just, you just trying to put it in words what you really see and what you really like what's really going on. I think there is a lack of competitiveness so far as trying to just better yourself. You know, when I was growing up, my older brothers that were 8 years older than me, you know, they used to gang war, drink wine, stand on the corners. But guess what? They stand out there with tailor-made pants on, shoes shining, smelling good. Take their hat off when Miss Johnson walked by. Still went to church on Sunday. Okay, guys used to be writing poems. They used to call it the gift of gab. I mean, the dudes practiced that, being smooth, saying fly stuff. You know, they practiced that because it was like it was what we had. And in this day and time, it's like there's no effort put in anything, not an appearance, nothing. Everything is about no effort. You know, like take a pair of pants, balled up and wrinkled, put them on. That's the style. You know, even though we can make almost anything look good, because anytime you see somebody walk around looking like somebody blew their pants up in the bomb, and it'd be fly, like, hey, he got holes all in his pants. That's some fly stuff. You dig me? When I was a little boy, let me just tell you something. My mom used to put patches on my pants when I got holes in them. And then when I got holes in them, she put the patches over those patches. So guess what my nickname was? Patches. They used to call me Patches, and I hated that. I hated that. Now my mom don't know that's the style now. She shouldn't have put the patches on it. We could have got rich. We started that style back then with the holes in my pants. But I'm just saying, in this day and time, there ain't no competitiveness. They don't compete for nothing. You know, I'm talking. And the thing that's crazy is that, you know, our women, they kind of have very low expectations. They don't really expect the guys today to even put forth effort. Matter of fact, not putting forth effort is considered to be the style, you know? So it's I just think those are the things that's missing. It's like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Or just like, even though, let's say, for example, I mean, could you imagine? I remember the first time a leather pair of sneakers came out and they cost like $12. And I remember somebody said, are you crazy? Those Adidas shell tops or whatever they was, Jack Purcells, it was something. They were leather. First of all, it was like, who makes a leather sneaker? That's crazy. Sneakers are supposed to be canvas. I remember getting the Chuck Taylors. Well, not the Chuck Taylors. I used to get the Cons, which was the knockoff Chuck Taylors. Okay. So if you got the high top, there wasn't no star on the side. It was just a circle with nothing in it. I used to draw the star in there. Okay. And then the low tops said Cons, Cons. I used to put the VRSE to make it Converse. Okay. And they were like $4 or something. Okay. So when they finally had a leather pair of sneakers and they were like $12, it was like, yo, that's crazy kind of money to be paying on some sneakers. And today, what we doing today, right? What we doing today? 500, 600,000, whatever, Balenciaga, whatever. I don't know what the hell, I might be saying it wrong, but I don't care what it is. It's like, people can have no car and have a $2,000 pair of sneakers on. You know what I'm saying? Living in their mom's basement without even a job, but they walk into the corner store with like $2,000 worth of clothes on, from a $200 T-shirt with holes blown up in it from Kanye West to. It just blows my mind, and that's all they want. That's all they want. You know. So it's really deep because it's like when we think about it, how do we even get to connect with them? Like, where do we find a place that we can actually connect to them? Which is beginning to be where I'm at. The full circle is I'm starting to think, how do I connect? You know, how do I connect to them? How do I be able to have a conversation with them that they're interested in? And how do I slide them some of this knowledge? Because the knowledge has to be slid in a finesseful way, or else it sounds like you're trying to tell them what to do. So you got to slide it to them in a way where it's just like, yo, check this out, look at this. And they might look at it and say, yo, that makes a lot of sense. You know?
Do you have any regrets?
Um, yeah. Yeah, I have regrets, but not in the way that you would really have regrets. Like a lot of people have regrets. It's like, oh, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. I mean, the same regrets I have is also the same things I'm thankful for. Because the things that I did wrong are the things that's keeping me do things right. You know, it's that yin and that yang. You know, it's that one side of life that's helped take you to the other side of life and make you happy to be in this other side. So, there's seasons in life, and right now I feel like I'm in the most brightest, sunniest. I'm in the best weather right now. Even when the weather's rough, it's good weather because this is what I need. This is what I need. You know, um, it's funny because I tell you I be riding the Peloton and all that stuff, and they be talking on there like they be like, "Yo, what would you have told your younger self?" And I would have told my younger self to be more competitive, to try harder, to get back up, as they say. You know, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Don't shy away from things that's hard. Don't be closed minded to something different. You know, expand your taste buds, expand your horizons. Listen to other points of view, and stop being around one type of person. You need to have a multitude of energy and personalities to actually really get a real good scope on life and where you want to be and what you want to do. When you're in school, they always say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I swear to you, I had no idea. It's like, a doctor, a lawyer. That's what you're told. You know what I mean? If I really knew how to put it together, I would have been an image consultant. Because from a young age, especially from being called patches, I had a paper route and I used to make $14 a week. So I saved up every week's money from from darn near like June all the way to September when school was going to start. And I remember I was like 13 years old, and I told my mother, I said, "Mom, this year, um, you don't need to buy my clothes. I saved up my paper route money. I'm gonna buy it." She says, "You are?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna buy it." And I remember I went to the store, and this was the beginning. Okay, that's where we got all this style. That's where all this stuff comes from. I was thinking this stuff up years ago. And I went to the store and I bought 7 pairs of pants, 7 shirts, 7 pairs of socks, 3 pairs of shoes, and I coordinated all the outfits. At that time, I didn't know how to do where outfit could work 3 different ways. So I just made them each an outfit. And I came home, my mother said, Byron, let me see what you bought. So I said, okay. I gave her the clothes and she looked and she said, oh my God, you put this color with that, you put these socks to match. You did all of this? I was like, she said, you did it yourself? I said, yes. She said, oh my God, you're really good. Look at this. You did a great job. I was like, thank you, Mom. Then I went to school. You would have thought I had hit the number. People were like, yo, what's, damn, this is a whole new you, man. I'm feeling this whole look you got, man. You killing it in here. How'd you do it? It was just a number? I said, no, I just saved my money, from my paper route. And this was the thing. And this is what they talk about, right? They talk about people saying money's the root of all evil. Some would speak that the lack of money is the root of all evil, because the lack of money would make people do a lot of things they wouldn't do if they had money. Not a lot, just basic money, just what you should have, not an overabundance, just what you should have. And I was always angry with my mother with the way she shopped for me, the way she only let me have 1 pair of pants or 2 pairs of pants for the week. And so I was angry with her constantly about that. And it's funny because it's a whole nother subject, but I never blamed my father for it, even though he didn't help. But my mom never used him as an excuse for why she didn't give me things. She just took the blame herself and just told me no. But I remember that when I bought those clothes, all of the resentment in my heart left me that day because I did it for myself. And that's when I realized it wasn't really her I was mad at. I was just mad at not having what I wanted. But once I gave that to myself, I healed myself. I was never angry with her about anything to do with clothes again because I realized that I myself can now take charge of that. And that was a beautiful moment for me.
Wow, that's a dope story. A lot, you're giving us a lot to reflect on.
Yes.
One of the subjects that we didn't really talk about, we touched on, is encounters with the police. I'm sure you've seen some things in relation to the police while you were out there.
Oh
I
yeah.
would, I would imagine you probably even witnessed or experienced some brutality as well during that time period. If nothing at all,
Yeah, but you
seen it.
want yeah. You know what though? It's really crazy though. It wasn't nothing compared to what we see now. Yeah, even back then, that kind of stuff I didn't see going down in that type of way. Not the way it is like now. It's like they don't even try to hide it. At those times, people would try to hide different stuff like that. Even like my older brothers who gang warred. You know, they got into a lot of conflict with police. You know what I mean? Because basically, it was like that. Get off the corner stuff or whatever. And if you said anything back, one of them might get out the car with the blackjack or whatever. But it just seems like it don't compare to the stories that we hear now. It just doesn't compare. Like it would never be that obvious or blatant. They would try to hide it a little bit more. I mean, from at least what my experiences is, I never really actually saw, you know, police do certain things that we know that they do now. But again, we didn't have the phones, we didn't have the video, and we didn't have the social media. So, and unless you're a person that personally experienced it, you probably couldn't speak on it. As I think back, the way we can speak on these things now, because if I didn't actually experience it or know a person, then I wouldn't have known what they could have been doing or what they did do. You know? I wouldn't known at all. But now we got this social media, man. Woo! You can find out everything. You ain't even had to been there. You find it out in minutes. So yeah.
Did you manage to escape any uh being in the belly on that whole course of your life?
No, not all the way. No, 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 no. I definitely, if you mean like locked up.
Yeah, I was trying to be subtle so that you know what I mean. I don't know
Yeah,
how
yeah.
much you feel comfortable with talking about.
Well, you know what's funny is like it's weird because everything happens for a reason. You know what I mean? Like even this conversation, the conversation we had led up to this. My son is a constant eavesdropper on all conversations. So you know what? If there's a conversation he want to eavesdrop on, this is one for him. Okay, he's supposed to be on the computer typing up something about his biography and it's questions that he's asked me about my life, and I ain't see him put his finger to nothing over here. He's just over here doing things to distract me. But yeah, I couldn't. No, I didn't escape that. I didn't spend long, but it was enough to be in and to be out, and to be back in again for violating parole. You know, I'm gonna tell you that this was the funny part. This was the integral part in my life that really kind of began to make me think a different way. I remember that I had I had to give urine and stuff like that, and I gave dirty urine, and the my PO said, "Yo, I'm done with you. I'm sending you. I'm sending you back." And I remember that and they didn't let me leave that day, and they put me in lockup. And I remember, I think the next day, he was like, "You going to Lewisburg?" And I just remember that the ride up there was in a van, and this was supposed to be like one of the oldest prisons, like in America. Can you still hear me?
I'm here. Yep, I got you.
Okay, my battery is getting at the end. Of course, when I'm telling the best story ever, I gotta stick the plug in here because I told you I had to use my phone because nothing else was working.
Right,
Oh, one second, let me get this light up.
no problem.
Okay. All right. So we get up there, and I just remember saying to myself, like the whole time there, I'm saying, "Damn, this is crazy." Like, I mean, I did everything I was supposed to do. Like, I remember I drank like a gallon of cranberry juice. I knew I had to go pee. You know what I mean? We was just at the bar snorting a little coke and drinking. You know what I mean? Like, what the big deal with that? I remember spending hundreds of dollars on stuff to get stuff out your urine, but yet I kept giving urine that was hot. What I didn't realize was that it was the stuff that I was purchasing was giving you a hot urine if they detected these things in your urine. Wasn't exactly the substance, it was the thing you put in to get it out. They wouldn't tell you that though, but that was a hot urine. If you're taking Sony 7, if they detect Sony 7 in your urine, that's hot urine. They don't have to detect the substance. All they have to detect is what you did to get it out. That's considered hot. But they didn't tell you that. Had me confused. I'm like, I'm about to spend $40 to get this out. Why is this happening to me? So anyway, sends me to Lewisburg. We pull up. When I tell you, and this was a federal, because I was in a federal situation. This is a federal prison, but it looked like the oldest, crustiest prison you ever could see. I'm like, how can a federal prison look like this? It's supposed to be like a country club. So we pulled up. The guards got out and opened up the door. And it was like one of those things like a kung fu movie. They're like, you. But it didn't say me, and they didn't say two other guys. Now, when we were looking, the way the prison was set up, there was dudes literally hanging out the windows, hollering like, "Oh, fresh new meat coming in." We was like, "Oh, these dudes here is real." So they closed the door back, and then they got in and they started to drive. And we was like, "Well, what the hell? What are they doing? Where are they driving us to?" Well, it happened to be there was an annex to this prison that was a brand new annex that looked like I was going to a country club. It was beautiful. I mean, acres and acres of grass. They had a track you could walk around. There was no bars. They had cafeteria with a buffet in that sucker that was like breakfast started at 5 in the morning and dinner was over at 4. So you had to eat between 5 and 4, else you didn't get to eat. Let me tell you something. You talk about intermittent fasting, everybody lost weight in there. You can't eat past 4, you can knock any weight off if you stop eating at 4. Okay? You'd be starving the next morning. But the thing about this was the first time for me, because I come from the concrete jungle. I'd never been around so much green in my life. So in that time, I actually was able to quiet my soul and begin to enjoy just sunlight, fresh air, water, and just stop racing with all these other crazy thoughts and so much stuff and just listen to myself. That was my first time ever as an adult or even a child where things had become that quiet for me, where I was no longer in a competition. I was no longer trying to prove anything. I was just enjoying nature. And I found out that that's something I really liked. So from that day forward, I realized that I didn't need a lot to be happy. Fresh air, clean water, and just seeing like greenery, flowers, trees. I love it. I love it. And I realized that that's who I was. I'm a nature type of person, and I like that. I like that feeling. When I ride, I drive with my window down, even in the winter, because I like the air to hit my face. I like that feeling, you know. And a lot of, I think, the youth that have never been in those environments, like on a farm or something, there's probably so many city kids that if they got on the farm, they would change who they are all the way. They would probably have their hands in the soil like a hobby. But all they know is this corner store, you know what I mean? Concrete jungle, video games. They don't get in touch with none of this that's out there, and that stuff is there for you. But you don't realize it when you've been kept from it.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah.
So, so having transcended into the corporate world, what are some of the skill sets, some of the ethics, some of the lessons that you were able to take with you?
Well, one thing is that you always got to build relationships, and you have to be a person that can like you have to be a person that can fit in almost any situation, any environment, and that has to translate from you. Like when people see you and talk to you, they literally can almost forget exactly who they're talking to by the way they're relating to you. Sometimes you will be the only person of color that they've ever really known. And it can literally be a situation where they can be like, wow, like, I forget he's even black. And he's like just so down to earth, so cool, and so personable. Like he's interested in all things, you know? And Also, the other side is that there's a lot of ruthlessness. You know what I mean? You got to be thick-skinned, because people around you sometimes is just not on that. They on something else. I see people suffer from it all the time. They're so upset about maybe what somebody said about them at work, or the way somebody might have treated them, or maybe they might think they're treating them, and they can really base their happiness on how this other person is acting. So you have to be very strong minded. That's one of the things that I got from the streets is that, you know, again, people are for you and against you all the time. Those two things, they exist all the time. I think it's almost like our bodies to the extent, meaning that the same things about us that's healthy, there's things inside of us that's trying to make us unhealthy, and there's always a war going on against them, against your health, against this many whatever free radicals running free, and the other ones that's fighting them. That's just the way life is. It keeps each other sharp. It gives each other something to do, right? Almost like what the Cat Williams said. If if by the end of the day you couldn't get two more people hating on you, then you ain't doing nothing right. People gonna hate on you. And of course I know you know about that, you know what I mean, and the other things that we talk about, with the jury. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you gave us a lot to digest.
Yeah, this is you
Give
know
us
what,
a
man,
lot to work with.
this was good though, man. This was good. This was good. This was good. Me and you talk like this anyway. This is just another
Right,
day
right,
for us.
right, 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 right.
You know?
So in closing, if you could drop a message to the youth coming up today,
hmm Right.
what would that
Um,
message be?
One is that every last one of you are uniquely gifted with something, and you gotta find out what it is. It's probably exposing itself to you. It's probably the corny thing in your mind that you might think you can't say out loud. Again, like I said, whatever. Like I said, hey, I could have been an image consultant because that's how much I was about style and dress and things of that nature without even the money. If I had the money, woo! But there is something inside of you. You are good at many things. And the thing that's crazy is that most of us, if you think about this, will die and never even express some of the things that we're the best at, even when we're good at stuff. Meaning that, like me and you was rapping, I was saying how Lenny Kravitz plays music and is a hell of a musician, but he also designs furniture. And that started from him taking furniture off the trash when he didn't have the money to support his musicianness. So, with this being said, there's something else that you can do. And if you're doing things that are like illegal, that is not your only gift. It's not your only gift at all. You know, story. There was a time where, from being on the streets, being all in all the bars and stuff like that, and one of the things I used to do was I always used to hold audience. I used to always like tell jokes and tell stories, and there was people that would come to buy stuff from me, but they also used to come to hear my jokes and my stories. And there were people that say, "Yo, man, the way you put these stories together, you could be writing for comedians. Comedians need writers. Like, yo, Friday night, I be looking for you because you so good at what you do, telling these stories, making us laugh. We just love to be around you, man. Like, what time you gonna be down here next week?" And I remember saying to myself, believe it or not, when I transitioned from that lifestyle, I said, wow, I'm probably not ever gonna be funny again. Who would even think that that would be what was on my mind? Like being funny, being humorous, being someone that people like to listen to him talk because I enjoyed the making them laugh. And I came to find out that the humor was in me. It wasn't because of anything I was drinking or any other substances or what anybody else. That was with me the whole time. It didn't leave. So I say that to the youth. There's probably something about you that you think is going to change if you do something in a different way. But everything that you do good, you will always still do good, no matter what you switch up to do. You know what I mean? So if you apply yourself, even in the areas where you think you're not good at, again, like I said, there was people on the street that was failing in school, but they was professors on the street. They was teachers. They could teach you how you gonna make this money, how much comes back from this, what you need to do with it, how you need to put it, who you need to hide it with, whose name you need to put it under. Half of them people didn't even finish high school. They didn't even finish high school. So again, we all got gifts. You all have gifts that you have yet to find. I still haven't found my full on gift. I'm still looking for it. I know it's in here though. I'm gonna keep looking till it come out. That's
Word.
it.
Brother Byron, thank you. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for asking all the questions. You know you like a therapist too. You ain't know that, did you? Yeah,
That's one of them gifts you
yeah.
was talking about, huh?
See, I'm trying to tell you, the way you ask them questions, and you. I mean, listen, this is the whole thing. You did this interview like somebody's paying you $1 million a year to interview. Now just think about this. One of the things they always say is do the job you want.
Wow.
Do the job you want. People always say, I'll do the job if you pay me. And somebody else says, do the job you want.
Mm.
You want to be the boss? Be the boss. And we'll start paying you to be. Make your own way. You are already doing the job you want. Look at this. This is crazy. You got a whole thing going on, a show. And I mean, listen, one of the things that I have noticed that I have been good at is I've actually have started to encourage others on the gifts that I see they got. And I am kind of like a silent hype man. I will hype you up, but I won't just do it with my mouth. I'll do it with my actions, and I will tell others. Case in point, this hat I'm wearing, one of the ladies I work with saw the hats that I was getting from someone else. And she said, "Oh, I can make hats like that." I said, "Oh, can you really?" I said, "Could you make me one?" She made me one. And it was really nice. And I said, "You know what? You could make money doing this." She said, "Somebody pays for that?" And then I showed her the Instagram with all of the hats that the one person sells. And she said, "What?" She came back a week later with 5 hats. 5 hats. And I paid her for those hats. And the thing is, I said to myself, you encourage that. So support it too. I wasn't planning to buy 5 hats.
Right.
I was not. But you know what I was planning to do? Drop a seed to see it grow. So if me buying these hats is me watering that seed, then that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I've started doing. And that's what we all need to do more of. Start supporting what we want instead of supporting what's out there. Start supporting what we want. If you want something, start putting support into it to see it grow. This is how they stay doing it because you start to support it. Start to divert all of what you send other places that you're not connected to. They keep talking about farm to table, farm to table. Well, how about we start doing that with each other? Where I see what you got and I farm it to my table by supporting you. When I support you, then you start bringing it to me. Now it's becoming a whole thing. Now you're starting to see that it matters. And that's just coming from one person. And that's the other thing too. Also, I tell this to people too. When everyone is doing things in disarray and in crazy ways, the little effort that you make to do it the right way is big.
Mm.
You might say, well, it's 40 people doing it wrong. What a difference is it going to make if I do it right? When I tell you, one person doing things the right way with 1,000 people doing things the wrong way is, believe it or not, really stands out. It stands out. It's they do. This one cat is one dude, and then that one starts making other people stop thinking that way. Stop thinking about, well, I mean, what's my little $100 going to do? It's $100 in the right direction. That might turn into two, might turn into three. But the whole point is that everything that we invest in is only profitable if you invest when it's at the lowest point, when it's hardly nothing there. And then you breathe life into it. And then now 5 years later, boom, everybody wants it. But you was there in the beginning, so you're gonna really reap that benefit.
Yes, indeed. I can definitely say, for those that don't know, Byron is the #1 brand ambassador for Classic Jewelry. You know what I mean? You
Brand
hold your
ambassador,
collection, holding your collection
holding the
strong.
collection. Look at that, look at that. Just got it. Look at that. Wow. I mixed the tourmaline. I mixed the tourmaline tonight with the jade. You
Word.
know, that's what's awesome. All this stuff is interchangeable. It works together. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I can't leave home without it. I can't leave home without it. It's crazy.
Word. Yeah,
It's
so you
crazy.
definitely, I'm not even ready to fully put into words how major your role is in the part that you play in terms of inspiring me to keep going, especially at those moments where, I might feel challenged, man. You've always been
Right.
there to give me some positive feedback and encouragement, and I appreciate you for it.
Hey, bro, appreciate you. The fact that you're doing it, that you say you're really dropping jewels, like dropping jewels every day. You dropping jewels. Your page, the stuff that comes through there is like, wow, is that one person doing it? Is it a team? How many people is doing this? This is crazy. I've never seen so much like outstanding, beautiful, powerful. And again, as we had the conversation before talking about this thing, it's like that energy, what is it doing? Is it doing something for you? Well, I'm going to tell you something. I don't even know if I said this to you before, but every time I purchase a crystal, I I started to do better than I was doing before the last crystal I bought. Every time. Not once, not every now and then, every time. Every time. With that type of return on an investment, who wouldn't keep investing? I'm trying to say to you, this piece I just got, right? I'm doing better than I was doing before I got that piece. So I don't know. We've been talking about documenting things. We've been talking about like, biography, history, a story. You know, one of the things that I've been doing lately is I've been paying attention to the story. I've been paying attention to the chapters. I've been paying attention as things are happening, what's resulting, what's relating, and what type of mindset. That mindset is the #1 mindset that you're trying to achieve. More than anything else, it's the mindset. It's this mindset that made me think I couldn't do anything other than the other things I used to do. It was that mindset. And then when I elevated beyond that, then I realized like, wait a minute, I'm actually okay. I'm good at some other things. Then you start to go back and say, wait a minute. I just realized why I wasn't paying attention in school. I, 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 I actually was having a problem getting it. I was embarrassed to raise my hand and say that I didn't understand. I was embarrassed to ask the person next to me, why are you getting this so fast? I can't seem to get it. I didn't want them to know. I was, it was transparency that I was lacking. If I had been more transparent, then I would have done better because I would have reached out for help. And if I had learned to get a buy in as a younger man, then people would have wanted to help me. But you get the buy in by giving credit to those that help you. So that's why I always give you credit. I shout out Akashic for life on every post, on every post. You know what I mean? Take it for what they want to take it for. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to keep on saying it till it's a household word. But I know that everybody that comes across it, everybody that sees it, everybody that's near it, either they ask or they're thinking or they're remembering. When they go somewhere else, they go, yo, I saw something like that earlier today. Is that the new thing? Where's it coming from? Who is that guy? Oh man. We can do this all night, bro.
Yes, indeed, Byron. So we'll talk soon, man. I appreciate you once again, man. And I look forward to the next time.